The stage is yours.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Move On. Thank you for your leadership. I lost my voice in a bar in Reno. Long story. But I'm gonna try my best here. We've had a great day in San Francisco, and I am excited to talk about my big idea. So all these great, I'm the last one. That's when you go, yeah. Okay, but it's important because I'm perfect for the last one. Why? Because you've heard all these great big ideas, right? Things about immigration and pay equity, and Julian just talking about criminal justice reform, and all of the work that you want to get done here when it comes to climate change, right? Well, we're not going to be able to do any of this until we take back our democracy, right? There is just no way. And you look at what has been happening in this country, right? Just this last week, the Secretary of State of Texas had to resign because he had admitted that he was part of a fraudulent scheme to push voters off the rolls, right? You look at what happened in North Carolina, where they had a bunch of stuff they did in their state that tried to get people so they couldn't vote. And a court, including some Republican judges, actually issued an opinion and said that they had discriminated with surgical precision. And then you look at what happened in Georgia, where that Secretary of State who is running for governor, 53,000 voters, he took off and wouldn't let them vote because they had things like hyphenated names. And you know what happened then? He hadn't done that, Stacey Abrams would have been the governor. And she will be one day, okay? And she will come back. That is what we're talking about here, what's going on around the nation. So my big idea is this. Once we take back that presidency, and we will, okay? Look what we just did in 2018. Once we do that and we keep the House take back, what we have to do is pass a national federal law to register every kid to vote in this country when they turn 18. That is my idea. Not just the 17 states, not just the 17 states that are doing it now, but all across the country. You know what this would mean? In 1 year, estimate 22 million more voters. And right now, when you look at the numbers, 1 in 5 people aren't registered to vote. And the numbers are even worse and harder for African Americans and Hispanics. And the only way we have a democracy that works is if everyone has a seat at the table. For me, this is personal. So I grew up without a lot of money. My grandpa worked in the iron ore mines. He couldn't graduate from high school, so he saved money in a coffee can so he could send my dad to a 2-year community college, and he did that. My mom, she grew up in Milwaukee, which is going to be the site of our convention. And she wanted to be a teacher. She moved to Minnesota. She was a proud member of the union, and she taught second grade till she was 70 years old, right? And I stand before you today as the granddaughter of an iron ore miner, the daughter of a teacher and a newspaper man, the first woman elected to the U.S. Senate from the state of Minnesota, and a candidate for President of the United States. That is what shared dreams are about, that no matter where you come from, right? No matter who you know, what the color of your skin, who you worship, who you love, that you can run for president of the United States. That's what this country is about. And so when I first started running, I didn't have any, I was running against, for my old job, I was running against a congressman's sister, and she spent, I think, 3 times as much money as I did, and then I won that. And then I ran for the Senate, and again, I'm running against a congressman this time. I have a lot less money than he does. I remember one day I was like, okay, what am I going to do? I got to raise like $10 million, and no one would call me back because they couldn't pronounce my name. I had no money that I could put in. I finally just called everyone I knew in my life, and that is when I set what is still an all-time U.S. Senate record. I raised $17,000 from ex-boyfriends. So, as my husband, who's here today, has pointed out, that's not an expanding base. And I am like not taking fossil fuel money, right, or lobbyist money or any of that. Most of my colleagues that have been up here today aren't either. And that's why we all need your help. And that's why we're going to run this the right way. In my state, the Paul Wellstone way, right, which is all about grassroots work and making sure that we're doing it the right way. But none of this is going to happen if we don't make it easier to vote. And the other things I add to that, and then I'll sit down and take some questions, is we need to take the dark money, the insidious forces out of our politics by passing a constitutional amendment to overturn Citizens United. We are never going to get where we are until we do. We are never going to get ahead if we don't do that. Never. And we need to stop the purging of these voter rolls. Sherrod Brown, because he and I have a bill that would stop that in its tracks. We need to pass that. We need to have public financing for federal elections, right? And we need to declare Election Day a federal national holiday. That is how you get people to vote. That's what we need to do. So this is about taking our democracy back. And if we let the big money run this whole thing, we're never going to get these things done that we want to get done. Somehow we did it, right? In 2018. We made up for what happened in 2016, but we're not really going to make up for it until we take back the White House. And you do it by taking back the democracy. Thank you.
Thank
That's my
you.
big idea.